Thank you so much, Stephen, and welcome everybody. This week, we will have our very first democracy talk, and we have a special guest, Diana Treviño from eucen, and she will be talking to us a bit about the Democrat Project, which is an education for democracy project with 7 national teams, and that is a big part of what we're doing here. So without any more wait, I'll turn it over to Diana to briefly introduce herself. And just before that, I wanted to introduce myself. I'm the online community coordinator who is working on the project, and I'm working through FOGS, the Foundation of Global Governance and Sustainability. So Diana, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, thank you very much, Vanina, and also Stephen for this introduction. I'm Diana Treviño. I'm a project officer of the European University Continuing Education Network, and we are also partners of the Democrat Project. And I would like to introduce to you today, just briefly, the Democrat Project. And I prepared some slides. And well, in the beginning, before delving into the more content-related stuff, the full title of the project is Democrat Education for Responsible Democratic Citizenship. And the project overall has a duration of 36 months. We started in March 2023 and will end in February 2026. And the consortium consists of 10 partners, and the coordinators is the University of Barcelona. And to sum it up, the background of the Democrat Project is, the current challenges we're facing in the EU, and this is somehow a response to the threats we are facing right now. And the project is focusing on the area of education for democracy. And as we all know, threats are, for example, that there's a strong increase of non-democratic movements and distrust in European institutions. At the same time, we're facing an Anthropocene crisis, digital innovation challenges, socioeconomic gaps, and geopolitical uncertainties. And there's a strong need to strengthen the EU model of a democratic, sustainable society. And addressing this need to strengthen the democracy in the EU countries, the aims of the project are to reshape education for responsible democratic citizenship. And therefore, we aim to involve education stakeholders and experts in different countries in the redesign of curricula. And therefore, we use innovative teaching methods in 6 countries, which are represented by the universities in our project. And all tools we will develop in the project should align, of course, with the EU values, but also with the UN 2030 agenda and the SDGs, and here in particular goal 4.7. And in relation to the outcomes of the project, just briefly, we want to developed already a responsible democratic citizenship framework for lifelong learning, and therefore integrate participatory methods and living labs in 6 countries. We aim to design an education for democracy curriculum from the responsible democratic citizenship competence framework. We aim to develop a conceptual framework and tools for responsible democratic citizenship competence assessment, and all these tools will be tested via local pilot projects in 6 countries. And until now, what we've done is we have an European vision of education for democracy. We have developed the responsible democratic citizenship framework for lifelong learning, the education for democracy curriculum from the framework, and we are establishing right now the 6 national living labs, pre-selected local pilot projects, and are continuously improving the transnational and national agoras that should support the living labs in publishing and making public their results to the community. So I think this is the most important about the project for now. And I'm now happy to start a conversation with you, Vanina, but also maybe with comments of the YouTube chat. And thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Diana. Well, yeah, I think everything that we're doing is incredibly important. And perhaps before I ask any questions, I could add in a little bit about the transnational Agora that we have and what we're doing there, which is also quite a big part of the Democrat project. So on the transnational Agora, which actually this series is a part of, we're trying to foster that conversation surrounding education for democracy. And we're doing that through posting blogs from our partners themselves, also some brief interviews, and then also these democracy talks, which in a way will foster that conversation first through this live stream, and then every other week after a live stream will also include some more questions that maybe we weren't able to answer here in these talks. So yeah, but I do have some questions that I wanted to ask you, and I think perhaps this is the most important one. I wanted to know why it's so important to use these local pilot projects in order to test the tools that we've developed of Democrats, so the Responsible Democratic Citizenship Framework, for example.
Well, I would say that the most important aspect is that by using living labs and pilots, we take care of the unique nature of educational practice in different countries. And so what we aim is to develop a broader tools from a European transnational perspective. But of course, we know that each country has a different educational context, and we cannot design something that should be used in this way in each country, because this would be discrimination, so to say. And the important point here is that what we will do by this, we will have different outcomes in the countries and can thereby contextualize this in a broader sense, what we developed. So we will see common aspects that can be used in all countries, but we also will see differences and where we need to provide space for adaptation in the different countries.
Yeah, I think that that's very important. And actually, in some of the conversations that I've had with some of the national teams, which you might also be able to find soon on the Agora for anyone watching, I think that there are a few problems that are, you know, across all of the teams, but also they have their very specific cases that they have to address in their living labs. I think one of the maybe not necessarily issues, but one of the challenge areas is working with children who have different native languages from the country that they're currently in due to their, you know, migrant background or, you know, being from immigrant families. So I guess my question is, what would you say are some of the current problems that we've seen in education systems in many of the EU countries? Maybe, you know, that I think is not necessarily a problem, but a challenge. And why are these curricula, the current curricula that we have, not suitable in addressing these contemporary challenges? And how can we sort of, you know, push that in with the Democrat project?
Well, I think this is a very complex question, and just to highlight what I think is crucial to mention is that what we know from different countries, and I can speak now only from Germany and Spain, these are the countries where I lived in, but that the education models and the educational curricula are very outdated. So this means that they are based on a traditional model of education and are not suitable for the challenges we're facing, not suitable for the competences we need nowadays. And there has to be a change. And also in relation to the problems we are facing, We need responsible citizens. We need critical thinking citizens. We need a sustainable mindset and, in general, habitus. So this is something that is not practiced in schools. We are very subject focused, and we have different contents we should learn, but this more softer skills, but in the end more important skills, we are not trained on that, and we don't understand the importance of it. And subjects are not related to real life context very often. And another point is, I would say, that the part of experiential learning is missing a lot. So when we speak about democratic values, we need to apply this in the way we teach and in the way we involve our students, and like participating in decision making or conflict resolution and these topics. And I think these are the biggest points to mention. But
We got
maybe you
a
all, yes.
got a comment in the discussion in the chat and YouTube. Tommy Royal says, I believe it's crucially important to train trainers and give them tools that they can use to integrate democracy and the importance of democracy in their day-to-day work with young people.
Yes, of course. I think the teachers are the ones that have this responsibility to transmit this kind of values, and they need to learn how they can put this into practice with their students.
Yeah, Alba Mollis also says the Democrat competence of solidarity participation tries to cover the aspect of minorities who normally do not participate in the deliberations so that they'll participate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think also what Carme said about training trainers is another part of the long-term sustainability of the project. Of course, if our project ends in 2026, but you want those effects to sort of last and to continue, and for these curricula, these newer curricula and these newer ways of like education for democracy to stay on for years and to hopefully improve current education systems in the national countries. And I'm wondering now, what other ways do you think there are that we can ensure the long-term sustainability of the project outcomes that you've mentioned?
Mm-hmm. I think in general, it's often a discussed topic in relation to projects, how to commit to sustainability and how can we assure that outcomes have a long-term impact, or what we do, or do we forget about what we develop in the end? And it's crucial to have a very good sustainability strategy for each project, and to have included key aspects such as, of course, all the kind of dissemination activities, to involve different stakeholders, to build synergies with other projects that work on that topic, but also to include long-term impact papers, so to say, like scientific articles that will be published for academia, but also to publish policy papers that address the decision-making people that have the chance to revise legislation and everything. And yes, I think these tools are very important in order to have long-term impact, but also to build projects in a more interactive way. So in the end, what we are doing now, to have a platform where we can share content, but a platform that is interactive, where we have live inside, and yes, and to keep this platform updated continuously, and
So
to build
another
maybe
comment.
follow-up projects. Yes.
Another comment from the chat, shouldn't there be a national push for a more structured approach? Shouldn't ministries of education ensure that democracy is part of the curricula?
I totally agree with this comment. I think this should be not even a question, that this should be part of curricula. And as we know from the project, there are single well examples of schools that they do democratic education, and there are schools that already had the possibility to integrate this into public schools. But it should be important to have this accessible for everybody and not only for selected students. But because we have to have in mind, this is a personal opinion, but parents that decide conscious about selecting a school are already a type of profile of people. And so what do we do in the end? That the privileged persons go to those kind of schools, but this should be something reachable for everybody and therefore be embedded in the public education system.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. Well, I'm not sure if I have any other questions at the moment. I'm not sure, Stephen, if you may have any, or if there are any more coming up in the comments.
That's all we've got in the comments so far. We do have a number of viewers watching, so right now they're being quiet though.
Yeah, and I'm wondering if there's anything you wanted to add, Diana, just generally about the project, or maybe about the progress so far of the project in different national contexts, or from your perspective as one of the partners.
Well, I think what is really important is now the implementation of the living labs, because this is now the real life testing in the end. And I think this will be a lot of work to contextualize the different outputs from the countries. But I think I'm very curious what is going to be the end result after that. And maybe I also would like to invite really to engage other persons interested in this topic, other projects that could be where we could build synergies in relation to education for democracy, to share these events, because we will have very interesting topics from experts, but also from project partners. And yeah, I hope this will be successful.
I completely agree. And also, the same for any other projects to, participate on our Agora and in our discussions that you will see very soon. We actually do have another, it seems, question, or maybe just a statement. Virle says, we should start thinking about the follow to democratic phase one. There's a big push in changing the education system as a whole, which again goes back to the earlier points that we were speaking about in the national pushes. I guess it sort of has to start from a national level to reach a larger, more transnational level. And okay, we have one more question actually. So Karma is asking if you could tell us what are the immediate next steps that anyone could get involved in, and sort of how to get involved. If you want to speak about that, Diana, and then I can speak a little about the Agora.
Yes, I would say to get involved is or first of all to join the sessions and to subscribe to the blog of the Agora, because then you will get informed continuously. And if you would like to know more about the project more in detail, you can get in touch with me or also the coordinators. We are all very open to build synergies with others.
Yes, exactly. And then in terms of staying in touch and seeing when things are updated, I think it's important for you to go to the Agora website, and there you can subscribe to our newsletter, where whenever anything is posted, whether it be an event or a blog or a recorded interview with one of the project partners, you are able to, you know, see that and see the updates. And then once we have concluded this first democracy talk today, next week we will have a forum discussion where we will address, you know, other questions. I will be posting some more questions that we can sort of get into about, you know, the future of the project, and then the general future about education for democracy. As you can see, the links are shared. The first link is a link to the blogs, and then the second one is a link to the general transnational Agora. In general, we have national Agoras for each of the country teams, which are just within those teams, and then we share some of that information publicly on the transnational Agora, and we also generate a lot of new information in, you know, blogs, as you can see, in some video interviews. And then we also have a library with some of those, with some research and some of those articles that Diana was talking about. You'll see the listing of the events that we have coming up. So the next few democracy talks. And yeah, it's essentially your resource for everything about the project, and hopefully it will become sort of a hub for discussions about everything related to the project and related to education for democracy in general. So please feel free to go to the website and subscribe, and you should be receiving updates. You should be able to read many of these articles, and that will inform a lot of our discussions as well, now and in the future.
Yes. And before we end this session, I would like to also announce the upcoming presentation of Beatriz Toscano. This will be the 8th of May at 3 o'clock. And let me just moment. Her topic will be bridging the gap from concepts to competence in children's democratic education. So I'm very sure that this will be also very interesting.
And there's actually an article by Beatrice, if anyone wants to read, that is on our transnational Agora in the blogs. I believe that it is also on that general topic. So that could be very informative, you know, before the talk. And of course, next week, we will also be hosting a live discussion on the forum page on the Agora, where people can be informed about that. So yeah, as Stephen is showing, you can essentially go to the events page and add the calendar link to the next democracy talk. And I will also be posting a link to the discussion for next week. Great. Well, I just want to thank both of you, and then thank our audience here today for participating in our first democracy talk. It has been quite insightful and informative, and I'm glad that we were able to fully introduce the Democrat Project to the public in a pretty concise way. Diana, thank you so much for everything and for speaking with us today. Stephen, thank you for all of the technical aspects.
Before we go, if you go to the blog page and scroll down to the bottom of the blog page, as you can see on your screen, you can subscribe to the newsletter. And that will send everything that we're doing as we're doing it to your email. And so you don't have to remember to come to the website. The website will come to you. That's
exactly
on the blogs.democrathorizon.eu website.
Yes, exactly. And maybe we will post that as a comment in the YouTube live stream as well, so that people have access to the link immediately. But yes, it's as soon as anything is posted, you will receive an email via the newsletter. So thanks to everyone. Thanks again, Diana. Thank you again, Stephen, for all of your help. And we're looking forward to seeing hopefully everyone that was on YouTube today, and hopefully some new viewers on May 8th. And next week, also, please look out for the forum discussion, which will have questions similar to those that I spoke about, and maybe some more to keep this conversation going.
Thanks, Vanina and Stephen also.
Thanks, everyone.
Okay.
It's a great start to our series.